Well, hey folks, and welcome to Solarcabin channel. Beautiful early spring day here. Only March 7th, but we've had a pretty mild winter here this year. Not a whole lot of snow. And so I'm thinking, as warm as it is, I might be able to get a head start on my garden. So what I'm going to show you today is a very simple and inexpensive way that you can get a head start on your raised beds to get some early plants in. Now, I wouldn't recommend this for tomatoes and hot weather plants, but for getting your salad garden in, for your lettuces and things like that that can handle a little bit colder temperatures, this is a good way to get a head start on your garden. So I'm going to show you my raised beds and kind of show you what I'm going to do here that doesn't cost only a few bucks to do, but really gives you about a month's head start on getting your garden in. All right? So these are my raised beds after winter, and they are pretty ugly looking right now because they've been sitting under the snow and got, you know, all messed up, and, you know, animals have been in them and everything else. But that's my raised bed, and then you can see this rail that I have across my raised beds, and I keep that on all year. You don't have to keep it on. If you want, you can take it down, but I just have a simple old wood 2x4 rail that runs over the top of my beds. Now, I leave that there all year long. And what I do is in the spring, this time of year, what I'll do is I'll drape plastic over that. Now, some people might call this a cold frame, but actually what it is called a cloche house, which is an old homesteader term. And basically what it is it creates a mini greenhouse over my raised beds. And I put this on in early spring because what I want to do is I want to raise the soil temperature up on these beds, on this ground that's inside these beds. And I will be adding some fresh compost and some fresh topsoil to these beds a little bit later. But what I want to do is I want to raise the soil temperature up to a good 50 degrees before I start putting in my young plants. That will give them a real head start. And this time of year, our daytime temperature is only staying around 40 degrees. Our nighttime temperature is still dropping down below freezing, below 30 degrees. But if I put this plastic over this rail, then the soil will act as thermal mass. And thermal mass means that it collects the heat and it will hold the heat and then release it at night. So that will raise up the soil temperatures to a nice even degree. And once it gets above 50 degrees, what will happen in here is I will start seeing the little weeds, the natural weeds, they will start popping up. And as soon as I see those little weeds popping up, then I know that it's also warm enough for my vegetables like my lettuce and my other plants, the cold weather plants. So I can start putting those in there, okay? So I'm using the natural plants to kind of tell me when it's time when my soil is warm enough. So I'm going to go ahead and drape some plastic over this, create a miniature teepee, and I'm just going to use some used plastic because I have some plastic left over from my solarium porch. So I'm just going to use that leftover plastic so it won't cost me anything, and some staples. And I'm going to enclose this raised bed, and I've got two of them, but I'm going to enclose this raised bed in some plastic. And then I will leave that for maybe a week or so, not do anything with it other than just let it warm up the soil. Then I will come in and add some compost and some fresh topsoil to this and start putting in my plants. This will give me about a month head start on other people that are just planting directly into the soil with no type of cloche house. And so that's an old homesteader trick that I learned from my parents, and so I'm going to show you how we do that to get a little bit of a head start on your raised bed gardens. This works best on raised bed gardens, and there are some ways you can do this with the little hot houses and the plastic, you know, cutting the milk jugs into plastic and that sort of thing. But they only work on small spaces, and you need a lot of stuff like that in order to do it for a big garden. This works really well for a raised garden. So that's what I'm going to show you here. Alright, so now you can see what I've just done, tilling up my raised bed here. And this is about 4 feet by, I think about 12 feet. And you can do this with just your old 4-tine pitchfork, or what's called a spade fork or a potato fork. You can use that and just till up your soil. But I'm kind of a lazy gardener, so I have one of those things over there. See that? It's a little electric cultivator or tiller. Works dang well, and it only took me less than 5 minutes to till through this whole bed. You know, 10 cents worth of gas. It's worth it to me. I didn't have to strain myself at all, and I'm kind of a lazy gardener, so you can take it for what it is. But you know, just a shovel or a 4-ton potato spud digger will also work to till up your soil. But you want to till it up first before you put the plastic on, because that will help the topsoil to also be loosened up so that the heat gets down into the soil, and that's what we want. We want to heat this soil down deep so that when we put our plants in, they won't be shocked. And that's what happens to a lot of young plants. If you put them in soil that's too cold, they're going to be shocked, and that's what kills a lot of young plants. So we want to heat this soil up really good. So now I'm going to put the plastic on this, and I'll show you what it looks like with the plastic on it. Okay folks, this is a Cloche house. C-L-O-C-H-E if you want to go look it up on the internet. And the difference between this and a cold frame is, a cold frame is primarily used to get plants started, and then you would transplant them from a cold frame into your garden. This is not used like a cold frame in that it will be kept on until the plants get started in the garden, in the raised bed, and then you'll remove the plastic, and the plants will just stay inside the raised bed. So that's the difference. Some people might call it a mini greenhouse. That's okay. But a greenhouse is really referring to a permanent structure for raising plants inside a covered protection, whereas this is just temporary, and its main purpose is to warm the soil up. Once you get that soil above 50 degrees, then your plants will have a much better chance of surviving. So all I did here was I took some of the plastic that was left over from my solarium porch, and each spring I just staple it right over that frame. And you notice I don't do a real pretty job of it. I don't care. It's going to come off in just a week or two. Okay, it's just stapled over that frame. Then the sun will heat that soil up through that plastic. Soil will get up to above 50 degrees, and then it's time to plant. And that gets me about a month ahead of time if I had to wait for the soil to warm up naturally. Okay? Whole cost for this project, for the plastic, and for my time to come out here and do this was less than $1. But will gain me about a month in growing time, so it's well worth it for a little bit of excess plastic and a few staples and the time to till up the soil. Alright, so that is a Cloche house. C-L-O-C-H-E if you want to go look it up. Okay folks, I do thank you for coming by my website and my group. Please do come by my website, simplesolarhomesteading.com. Got some really nice new cabins on there. Low-cost builds, so come by and take a look at those and other projects that I have on my website. Please do like my channel and my videos, and thank you for stopping by. Have a great day.